Astrology Roast. I think it needs to sound like a shitty intro, like a funny shitty intro.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Astrology Roast. My name is Karen.
My name is Itai, and we are back on the track.
Back on the track. Well, that's a new one.
I know. I just wanted to spice things up, you know. It's been 81 episodes. We want to spice it up.
We do need a bit more spice in our lives. So thank you, Itai. For anyone that's listening out there, Itai has what's called his morning voice, which sounds like he's standing on a ledge on a high-story building, contemplating his existence and why everything is the way that it is. But that's just his morning voice. Well, that's how I categorize it.
You know what they say? When you wake up, you have less of your defense mechanism. Like I think it's the actual, the true you comes out when you just wake up because you haven't adjusted yourself yet to the day. Yeah. So first of all, the true me is a bit more masculine, and the true me is a little bit more sad than the regular me. So I guess that makes sense.
Wow. Well, I didn't know that, a sad masculine energy provokes someone to say, we're back on the track. So
we're back on the track.
I guess it is something a weird uncle would say when they just feel a bit sad and they're hanging out at Christmas and they don't have anyone to talk to, something like that. So
it's also Gemini season, so I gotta have a word, like a word play or something like with lyrics. I don't know. Gotta be creative.
It's such a horrible season. I am so sorry to all the Tauruses that I was complaining about your season. I was like, get me to Gemini season. I'm ready for it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be light. We're all going to be emerging from this abyss that we've been in. It turns out that Gemini season is horrible for Geminis. It's like too much air energy for us to bear. And it's too much activity for our minds to comprehend. So please take care of your Gemini friends, families, dogs, pets, whoever they may be, because Gemini season doesn't actually treat them very well. Plus, we are still currently in Venus retrograde in Gemini. So if your partner is a Gemini, if you are a Gemini that's in a relationship with anyone, just give yourself a break and take it easy. Don't make any rash decisions because it is a really chaotic time for everyone. So I'm sorry, but we are back, and we are back on the track in the track pants that we are wearing whilst working and living and moving in our homes still.
Yes.
So how have things been for you and for your morning voice? MOURNING and MORNING, both morning voices.
Wow. Well, it's the corona has ended.
Wordplay.
The corona has ended in Israel. We're just like back on the track, and it's just normal.
What do you mean it's ended in Israel? Firstly, when you say the corona, it does sound like the Macarena. Like for some reason, when you say it with your husky, beautiful voice, it sounds like this dance party that you went to that's now winding down in the small hours of the morning. And also, it's clearly not over. Like corona is not over. Well, we're not back on the track.
Tell it to all the cafes and all the parties and the streets because people are there and it's just regular. Even more, I feel like people now are like making up for the lost time. So it's nice. It's like the sun is out, the people are out. I can, buy food outside and spend all my salary on food that other people made, even though I know to cook and I learned to cook from my family, but still it feels better when someone else does it and get money for it. And also now you have that like moral, like let's support businesses. I was having coffee at a cafe yesterday and I was like, oh my God, look at us supporting businesses after the crisis of the corona. So that's nice. And everyone's talking about a second wave. Everyone's talking about the fact that like it's going to be now back because everyone's outside. But I personally starting to believe in a lot of conspiracy theories that
Oh, yeah,
that
starting or just a continuation?
no, I don't know. The fact that we went back to normal overnight and like no one's from the government is worried makes me wonder like
Yeah, they've done what they
why
need to
are you
do.
so
They've done what
calm?
they need to do.
Exactly. They've installed the G5 antennas or whatever it is. But
Oh my god, it's such a bad line of thinking. Firstly, no, I don't think it's a conspiracy. But I'm prone to thinking that as well as you, Itai. And the other day I started thinking about in Australia we have an internet run by the government called NBN, and it's our up to speedy internet that they have to install wherever you move to somewhere new, and they install this monitor box, and I was like, oh my gosh, NBN is the reason for coronavirus, like this is what's happening. And then I caught myself thinking this insane thought, and I was just so ashamed, and I'm not promoting this way of thinking at all. Like I think NBN is a legitimate internet business, and I've ordered it for my home, and I have one in my current home, but it's a slippery slope. So let's not focus on that. Also, I also want to mention that you just referred not only to Corona as if it sounded like that was a dance that all of Israel and the world has learned, like 5, 6, 7, 8, my boot scooting baby kind of dance. But then you just referred to like everyone's talking about this second wave. And why does that also sound like this hot, sexy dance party that people, are lining up on the
festival.
streets to attend? Yeah, like this second wave that's coming. Like, why does it sound so
Did you
cool
get
when you talk
tickets?
about it?
Did you get tickets to the second wave? It's gonna be fucking crazy. Well, yeah, but you know what? The world is one thing, Israel is one thing, but there's also another thing that is important, and that's my own little life. And I have been itching for a month. I've been itching for a month. And I
Say
can't
more.
blame anything for it. Like I can't blame astrology for it. I can't blame anything. I'm itching until I'm bleeding for a
Oh,
month, and I went to a skin doctor. And the funny thing is that I wasn't even thinking that it's, usually my mind goes like, oh, it's cancer. It's the worst thing that can happen. Like, my Virgo moon. I went to a doctor, and I don't have a good experience with doctors. They never explain to me what I have. Sometimes they're homophobic. Sometimes they're just like, I don't know. Usually it's not good, and this time wasn't good as well. He was just like, take this cream, take these pills, and I was like, wait, but what is it? Like, is it bed bugs? Like, I thought maybe I have bed bugs. And he was like, yeah, it could be bed bugs. Just change your sheets. And I'm like, no, but like the internet says that you have to like burn your whole house and city
okay.
if you have bed bugs. So,
Of course.
and he was like, yeah, whatever. Like I left his room, not knowing what what I have, but with prescriptions for pills and creams that I obviously bought. And then the next thing I did was very impulsive areas of me, and I just threw my bed out. Like I threw
Wow.
my bed out before I sorted anything out. I don't have a bed in my room for a week and a half now. I'm sleeping in the living room. Um, and it's just the worst because my Gemini roommate, works from home.
Oh
So
my
he
god.
like wakes me up with this classical music that he listens to, and like when I go to bed, like sometimes he'll still be around. It's just a nightmare. I'm still itching. I don't think it was bed bugs because my bed isn't there and the bugs shouldn't be there with it either. So I don't know what to do. All I know is that on top of all of that, when I get back home and I look at my cat and I'm like, how was your day? And then my roommate thinks I'm talking to him and he answers. And then like on top of everything, I then need to like, after he finishes answering my question that wasn't intended to him, I need to like silently go next to my cat and be like, no, but how was your day? Actually, like I was asking you. And it's just the worst.
Oh my
It
gosh.
hasn't been an easy month.
That's horrible. Well, firstly, I hope that you get a bed soon, and that maybe we need to do a crowdfunding episode where everyone puts in a couple of shekels or dollars to get you a new bed. I don't understand why you didn't purchase a new bed after you threw the other bed out. Like, what's happening with that? But I mean, you choose your choice, I suppose.
It's true.
I mean, astrology might not be able to explain why you're itching, but I know that you have a very psychic, spiritual Aries friend who gave you a spiritual explanation as to why you're itching.
I know.
Has
I
that
was
been
talking
helpful?
to my friend. I was talking to our beloved Aries friend, which is also on our the second episode of this podcast dedicated to Aries. And I was telling her about and she was like, before I even got to the bedbugs explanation, she was like, I know it's a spiritual awakening. You know, sometimes when you're like, your soul reaches higher places, you start itching, and oh my God, that's so amazing. And I was like, it is actually bedbugs. Like, the doctor said it's bedbugs. She still didn't agree with him, and now that I'm looking back, I think she was right, and the doctor was obviously wrong. I don't know. Time will tell, you know? Time will tell. How about you? How was your week?
It's very hard for me to answer that question, to be honest.
As
so,
always.
I mean, that's all I'll say about that. But I have been having a spiritual awakening. I mean, I know that you're not meant to shout that from the treetops, and it's meant to be quiet and humble, but you know, we don't need to always follow tradition all the time. I mean, that hasn't really served women or minority groups or, you know, Jewish people in World War II. Like, when has that helped us? So you've got to hustle, and you've got to sometimes break with tradition. So yes, I am having a bit of a spiritual awakening. So for a couple of reasons, and a few things have participated in this journey. One of them being that I've been engaging in an Ayurvedic course online with a very beautiful Libran. If anyone out there likes Ayurveda or likes Librans, you might want to follow him. His name's
What's Ayurveda?
What is Ayurveda? Well, I don't really know. After 4 2-hour sessions, all I took from it was that I took a lot from it actually, but there are three constitutions or types. And for ease of my mind, I would refer to them as the skinny type, the middle type, and the big type. Mm-hmm. But basically, that's not really the types. Like, we have a lot of different complexity, but it's more about being intuitive with how you connect to the seasons, to your body. Ayurveda would definitely have a prognosis if someone spent many hours with you, talking to you about your poo and your sleep and your mental health and your relationships and all of that. They would get to the bottom of the itching, and they might not say it's a spiritual awakening. They might say there's too much pitta in your system and it's trying to come out, too much fire, and you need to have this or that. So it's a beautiful system of kind of getting balance through, you know, connecting with nature and with what you eat and how you treat your body and how you treat the world. So it is very connected. I mean, I said to the Libran, please just give me something to buy so I can just buy some tablets. Like, I would just blurt out questions all throughout the course, asking for tablets or for quick fixes. And he didn't want to do that. He was more about the actual foundational knowledge, the classical texts. Beautiful teacher, beautiful photographer as well. As all Librans have a penchant for the aesthetic. So check him out, Roy Reifeld. So that's contributed to me wanting to live a more mindful life. But I'm still feeling hectic and chaotic because, as I said, Gemini season, not the easiest. And my God, so help us all when it's Cancer season. You will not hear from me from a month. You will not hear from me, and do not try and call the police. Do not come knocking. I don't want to be asked how I am. I'm not around. But what else happened to me? Not many people follow my Instagram. It's quite, humble and weird. But
It's boutique Instagram.
It's boutique. It's definitely boutique. It's like your parents, how they would use Instagram. That's how I use Instagram. I don't know how to move all the letters and how to add the mentions and the dates.
An insult. That's an insult to my mom, because my mom uses Instagram.
It's true. You're right. You're actually right. I'm sorry. I know that you're actually at her house at the moment. And I actually feel her shivering and her energy chastising me. So I'm sorry it ties to your mum. Capricorn stellium that she is. Oh no, you're the Capricorn stellium. She's just the Capricorn. But yes, I use Instagram like someone that doesn't use it very well. But I really give it my all. Anyway, the main point being, I was just on a walk, as I tend to do, and I observed, or I saw on the streets, about to be run over by a car, a duck and 9 baby ducklings, 9, walking in single file, walking like for ages. And then my friend's Russian mum almost ran her car onto the ducks. And then she drove up next to me and she's like, "Oh, how are you going? What's happening?" I'm like, "Hi." And then she took a photo of the ducks. She goes, "Oh, I'm late for work." And then she runs off in her car. And so it was me with these ducks, and they were very far from home. Like, there was no park or body of water very close to them. I know that there's a lot of very well-recognized duck communities near my area. So I knew that they must have somewhere to go, but it seemed like they were pretty far. And the little chicks or ducklings were struggling. So I kind of was a bit creepy, and I just followed them. I just walked next to them to make sure that they weren't going to get run over. And they kept walking in single file. And we just did this for about half an hour. We were just walking the streets. I was stopping traffic. I was making sure no one ran them over. Then we ended up at Caulfield Racecourse, which is obviously near where they were going. I was on the phone to Wildlife Victoria, chatting to them about what to do. And they told me that ducks actually do this thing where the mother will have the ducks quite far away from their home, and then they'll walk from their nest to their home. And the plan is that the weak ducklings don't make it, so they actually just fall off by the wayside. And so this is the mother duck's way of weeding out the weak ducks in her family, really. Wow, I know. And also, like she said, the ducks have this amazing GPS system. So this bitch knew where she was going. Like, first I was like, oh, she's lost. She doesn't know. And I'm like, she knows. And I was following them and protecting them. There's so much. And I was like, what star sign are they? There was this man that started filming the ducks and then filming me. And I was like, okay, you need to stop. Like, I'm here. And I felt so connected to this experience. I had a goal. I had a purpose. I was taking an extended break from work. Like, it was everything that I need. I had Instagram content as well, so I Instagrammed the whole story. I put it on my highlights. I was so happy. Like, I watched the story again and again because it made me so happy, because I don't know, it was like, I'm sure so many mothers out there would understand this feeling. And really, you don't understand until you're a mum. Really,
you don't understand
know.
The feeling of taking your all of your kids for a walk in the hope that the weak ones will die until you're a mother.
Exactly, you don't understand, and there's all this judgment for mothers making these difficult choices. But what other choice did she have? Anyway, so we walk.
Raising a child that, like, at 20 years old will be like, "Mom, I can't do this. I need this.
Mom, I want to be a photographer." Okay.
Exactly. Like,
so I saw them struggling. The photographer ducks were struggling, let me tell you. Some of them nearly didn't make it, and I was like, oh, God. But we got there in the end. We got to the race course, and as we walked into this huge race course, which was completely empty, and mind you, we're not meant to be walking around too far, and certainly I'm not meant to be walking on a race course where there's no races. Anyway, we got to this huge body of water, and they all just jumped in the water and just swam off. And that was it. It was like that 30 minutes of me and my protective, nurturing, caring self, which is a rare, rare part of me that comes out from time to time. I mean, she'll come out during cancer season, and that's why I'd like to be alone during that time. But it just opened up something for me. And I don't know, how this connects to you having bed bugs or your spiritual awakening, but I think spiritual awakenings or openings or connections come in the rarest forms.
Wow, they
can
sure
come
do.
anywhere.
Wow,
anyway,
so much
it was
to
a thing.
say.
Check out my Instagram, and you'll see in my highlights section, because it was the first time I've ever done a highlights section, so I felt pretty cool. You'll see I titled it Ducks, and it's the only one there, so you really can't miss it. So yeah, please follow me, Karen Laserbeams.
You cannot hear this story without asking yourself, like, would I survive if I was in this duck family? Like, would I be the duck that gets left behind the photographer duck? Would that be me?
No, you're the mum. You're the mum duck, 100%.
Yeah, but before this mom duck became a mom duck, she was just a little duck. And she survived the walk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as we were discussing the other night, when I finally watched Coyote Ugly, and we were all debating, which character was who, and you said that you're definitely the bar owner.
The bar owner,
And then
yeah.
we also both agree that you're Violet, the main protagonist, who's trying to sing her way to success. But
Sing her way
then,
to success against the odds, even though she's white and blonde and from New Jersey. Um, yeah. Well, we can talk about Coyote Ugly every episode for the whole episode on this podcast because this is us and there's a big part of us that still lives in the year 2002. But we wanted to do something a bit different today. And before we even start, I'm just going to start with an apology. Yes, I'm recording at my mom's house. Yes, there's so many people here. And no, none of them have volume control on their throats. So we all scream at each other. This is how we talk, unfortunately. But we wanted to do something different today. And because we're a podcast that celebrates love, all kinds of love, except for romantic love. No, we do celebrate romantic love, but we also put the emphasis.
We acknowledge that it exists. I don't know if I wouldn't say we celebrate it. I think that's a stretch. I think we acknowledge that some people experience romantic love.
It's true. Some people that are not listening to this podcast experience and celebrate romantic love. We celebrate other types of love. We celebrate friendship, the love between friends, the love between a person and their couch, the love for astrology, the love for animals, specifically ducks, but all kinds of animals, and just love. So there's a thing that the New York Times or the New Yorker, I don't know, one of these,
Something
the New York
in New York.
Times, the New York Times, which is a legit newspaper, I would guess. They developed this, like, I don't know, it's a research-based, psychologist Arthur Aaron and others explored whether intimacy between two strangers can be accelerated by having them ask each other a specific series of personal questions. And they came up with 36 questions divided into 3 sets of 12 questions that allegedly, if you sit down with someone and you go question by question, and it should be in one sitting, then you basically fall in love with them. Like that's the catch, like that's the clickbait. But actually it enhances the intimacy. And even the way they're structured is like they mix them in to start like a bit lighter and then to go a bit deeper and darker. And it's very like well crafted by all these smart psychologists. And we thought maybe we can go through these questions, yes, and enhance our intimacy and also, love each other a little bit more, if that's even possible.
Wow. Yeah, I think we should just jump right in. And interestingly, I had a therapeutic session today with various supports that I have in my life to deal with my mind. And we talked a lot about intimacy. So I'm thinking maybe instead of just, sitting opposite a psychologist being asked questions, I could have brought these 36 questions about love and just asked them one by one to my psychologist. And just broken down that barrier of professionalism and power and all that separates us from the humanity that we all share.
Yes, and I want to suggest to all of our listeners, one, find someone and also do it. And it's online. It's easy. Like literally just write 36 questions and it will auto complete you. And two, maybe like, because we each have our charts, like we're each made out of all the signs. So maybe some of our questions would be more Aries or more Virgo or more Pisces or more whatever. And I think it would be also fun to kind of like identify our answers as to like what kind of star signs would answer that. Because, we're more than just an Aries and a Gemini, even though you're a stellium.
We are. We really are.
So should we just jump right into the first set?
Yeah, I think we should just, what is it? Get back on track? Back in the track?
Back on
whatever
the track.
It is. Jump on the track.
Get on the track
get
for
on
the
that
first
track.
time. We've never been on that track. Okay, so given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a guest as a dinner guest?
Wow. These are, this feels very revealing already. It's too much intimacy for me, I think. I don't like these questions. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of questions. It's a lot of words. Who would I like?
Fair.
I think at this stage, I mean, call this controversial. I'd like to invite Donald Trump and then lock the door and just lock him in there. Next. What about you? What about you? Who would you like to sit
I
down and
think-
have a chat with? Brittany. Come on, it's Brittany.
Yeah, it's
Brittany for
easy.
you.
It's Brittany Beach. I would love to ask her many questions. I would love to just look her in the eye when she speaks and see if, like,
If she blinks.
I trust that not like if she, because everyone's saying, like, she's, not okay and everything. And I think she knows what she's doing, even when she's
Yeah.
being weird on Instagram. So I want to just, have a dinner with her and eat grits.
What would you
or
eat? What would you eat?
Would eat, like, the shittiest food on earth. Like, just
Yeah.
Cheetos and
Would
Fanta.
you eat it on a couch watching TV, or would it be like around a table?
I think it would be around the table. But then we'll, like, have tea on the couch.
Oh, that makes me feel happy in my insides. That's nice. That's so cute. I hope that happens for you one day.
Me too. Okay, second question. Would you like to be would you like to be famous? In what way?
Yes, I think I would, because then I think like you could really explain your misery on fame and just be like, oh, it's so hard. I think I'd like to be like a model that has a brain, like Chrissy Teigen or something that's taken up cooking, and like everyone thinks like I'm so cute and my life's so fun, and like, like just for
And
my
funny.
regular life, like I'm in my track pants and I'm just doing funny things on Instagram and I know how to use Instagram, and it's just like I'm a bit fun. That's what I'd like to be famous for. So really for nothing, just for nothing.
But would you want to be famous as Karen?
No, I think as me, like just as me, I think that might be
Yeah,
setting a bad example.
You're
I
supposed
don't
to
want-
answer the questions, like, for real. Like, would you want to
For
be
real?
famous?
yeah, but like as a different version of myself, yeah. Like I think with a persona, for sure.
The version, okay, so the different version of yourself, but that lives in you. Like,
Yeah.
n-
Yeah, like
So-
wearing tracksuit pants and like a cute little something and just like hanging out on the couch sipping tea, like your Britney Spears fantasy. But I'm Britney Spears and I'm just, I don't know. I think, look, I'd love to be able to say like, oh, I'm laying some tracks in the studio. I think that would be really awesome. So yes, and I think fame as a musician, as opposed to fame as like a front person or a celebrity or a miserable comedian, I think that's easier to step into, or a famous producer, or a backup dancer, like on MTV, like that kind of fame. An influencer at the Fire Festival. Sure,
whoa.
I could do that. I think I'd be very sad inside. So it's like, I think, yes, I'd like to, but when I really think about who I am, I just don't think it would be positive. So I'm going to say no. What about you? I think you're going to say yes.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind being famous. What for? I don't know. In what way? I think, I wouldn't mind acting. I wouldn't mind going on like the Big Brother, but
Yes.
only if they like promise to only show me from like
Your
angles
flattering
that I
sides.
look good. Yes. But also I wouldn't mind like coming up with this like how to make people like educational program of
Yeah.
like reducing racism in Israel, and be like, I
Wow.
developed this 5-stage program that every kid goes through, and they become unracist. And then after
Wow.
this blows up, I'll just move on to like doing like morning shows and being
Yes.
a guest on other shows. But like I would just develop that and like leave that behind, and then
Wow,
I'll
I
become
can
famous. Like do
see
Survivor,
your
be like-
face. I can see your face on the book. On the book of
Exactly,
like how to
yes.
get rich and be famous, and you've got your hand under your chin and you're staring and you're wearing a turtleneck and you're smiling
Yeah.
and you're signing it. You're signing it for people at one of the Israeli
Exactly.
bookshops.
I feel like it's very
Yes.
Aquarius rising to want to be famous for something that's like philanthropic or like social, like fixing society, but then move on to like your own indulgent, famous life.
Yes. See, it's like Jennifer Lopez when she describes herself as the triple threat, you know? She can sing, she can act,
Exactly.
she can dance. She was always the triple threat in her own words.
She
So I feel
was,
like
and she
you
still
could be
is.
that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 3. Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you are going to say? Why?
Yes. I hate telephone calls. I'm not very good with them. So yeah, I do. I don't know about rehearse, but I think about it and then I probably don't make the call. What about you?
I don't rehearse. I sometimes I'll postpone it a lot,
Yeah.
but I don't rehearse, but I do pace. I know that there's people that are always pacing as they talk on the phone, and I'm one of them. But I
Like
don't rehearse
walking
because I
around,
feel
you
like
mean?
it's, yeah, like pacing around, like walking, yeah. But I
I thought you
think
meant
that
like pacing, like controlling the pace. Like you
oh,
slow it
no,
all
no, no.
down. I was like, really?
No,
No,
not at all. But I think
never.
it's harder for me to remember what I was rehearsing in while I'm talking to someone. It's more difficult for me than just, making it up on the spot. That's why.
Wow. I feel so close to you and so intimate right now. And we're
And
only
I
up
feel
to,
close to
to question
myself.
number 3. I feel close to myself. Yeah, what you're meant to say in response is I feel close to you as well, not I feel close to myself.
Well, I think
Oh,
then we
wow.
should both have some thinking about how this is going if I'm feeling closer to myself.
Okay.
What? Oh my God, would this make us would this make us take us further apart
No, I
or
don't think
closer?
so.
Or we'll
No,
see.
I don't. Well, I think it would make us closer, and then because both of us are not like so prone to intimacy, it would then make us move further apart, which would then
Yeah.
make us much more comfortable, which would then bring us closer together. So it will do exactly what it needs to do. And if you want any more
Amazing.
information about this, check out our episode on attachment styles. It's called
Yes.
Attached. So
All capitals with 3 exclamation marks. Okay. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
well, basically, I already spoke about it. It was my situation with the ducks. It was following the
Yeah,
ducks
but
around. I was so happy afterwards. I couldn't bring myself back to earth. I was a new woman. It soon faded away, but it was possibly one of the best moments of my year and
Wow.
possibly of the decade. What about for you? What would be your perfect day?
My perfect day would be
Britney Spears.
waking up at 10 a.m. Like not waking up
Yep.
before 10. Waking up at
Yeah.
10, going downstairs and like drinking coffee at a place that I always drink coffee. They know me by my name. They know my order. As I'm like walking, they don't start making it because they always ask me if I want the regular because, every now and then I want something different and I don't want them to
Really?
assume. Yes. So they ask me if I want the regular. I say yes. They make it. And there's like also a little pastry. So I have it. And then I go straight from there. I go for brunch with my friends, with like my best gals. And it's just like classic brunch, nothing fancy. We have brunch. Then after brunch, like we just go walk around, just like go around the city, like just being like seeing and being seen. And then I think just like an activity that is either like a concert or a movie or just something like just to know that there's something in the schedule. It shouldn't be something so important. Yeah, and I think that's it. And some time with my cat, probably.
That's so your life is your perfect day. Your actual life.
It's Saturday. It's a Saturday.
So it's literally just a Saturday. That is the sweetest perfect day I've ever heard. Firstly, it's so achievable. It's so like pragmatic
true.
and well staged. It's an excellent pace. If I do say so myself. Wow, that's
Yes.
so nice. That
It
sounds
is
like
a
a
very
really
simple
fun
day.
day. It's very accessible as well. Like a lot of people can participate in all those different
Wow.
parts in their own way.
Wow. Okay. Question number 5. I think we're both going to answer it very easily. When did you last sing to yourself and to someone else?
You answer it first because I think I'm answering them all first. So let's switch it
Okay.
up. Let's
When
get
did I
back on the
last?
track.
Let's get back on that track. When did I last sing to myself? It is that was like right before I went to bed last night, and I was just still singing the new Lady Gaga and Ariana song, which is, it's. I think if you're gay right now, it's very difficult because the world is divided between like, you love it or you hate it, and it's just you have to choose a side. But I feel like I'm both loving it and hating it at the same time, so I feel torn. And not torn, the best song ever made by Natalie Imbruglia.
Best one.
Just torn, just literally torn into two. So
Wow.
that was when I last sang to myself. And to someone else, I was singing to my niece also last night because she was like, yeah, she was just like, I want you to. She's the Aquarius that always talks about aliens and how when I die, she's going to get on her spaceship and bring me back to Earth. But she was. And also, my sister just told me that she keeps screaming around the house that she doesn't want to be a mother and she doesn't want to have a kid. She's a 4. She's 4 years old.
God. She knows.
She fucking knows. And then my sister was like, "Why don't you want to be a mother?" And she's like, "It's so annoying. You have this little kid that cries and you need to take care of it." And she just like goes on tantrums of just like screaming that she doesn't want to be a
Wow.
mother. And it's insane.
Wow.
And I just like, I'm like, she's my niece. So she wanted me to hold her arms and make a dance while I'm making up a song. And all she had to do was to stand still, and then I would make her dance and sing, and she would just be like, her face was just like no expression. That was when the last time I sang to someone.
Aw.
What about you?
Well, I sing a lot. I sing all the time to myself and to others, and sometimes in my sleep. So hard to remember a specific one. I was singing to my friend's baby just a few hours before. I was singing some songs by a little underground DJ outfit called DJ Fishpants. Some people may want to look this amazing DJ up. It may or may not be one of Itai's creative outlets. I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal that. Check it out on YouTube, DJ Fishpants. It's a lot of controversial underground beats that you really can't find anywhere else. So I was singing one of their songs to a baby. Pretty explicit lyrics, so trigger warning, don't check out DJ Fishpants.
Which song?
Both of them. I sang G-String Life and also Fishpants. What's the other song?
What's the other called? I don't know.
Fishpants. Was it one of the songs? Or was it G-String Life?
G-String Life is definitely Slow Around the Bend. There's Slow Around the Bend.
Slow Around the Bends.
Slow
Around the Bends. I like it. Slow Around the Bends. G-String Life. And
there's another one. But
What's That Stench? What's That Stench?
What's That Stench?
Yeah, What's That
Wow.
Stench? Some of
Look it
them
up.
are available on YouTube. I would encourage you to look it up. And the other time, when have I been singing? Well, I came to realize the other day, because I've been staying with my Leo friend Lauren during the coronavirus pandemic. Well, also just during this time. I don't need to always reference the pandemic. But I realized that she was born being the wonderful Leo that she is. And a year later, or just under a year later, oceans apart and different time, and a little egg, a little seed was planted in my mum's body just so a baby could be born exclusively to be her side bitch and her singing side bitch for life. And that baby was me. So I realized that I was born and put onto this earth for a very special service, which would be to sing harmonies to my Leo friend all the time. So she sings nonstop all the time, and I harmonize on her or with her all the time. And it's like this thing that I was born to be this side bitch in that way. So I've been singing a lot of harmonies to a lot of Mariah Carey with her, I must say. And she is also one of the members of DJ Fishpants. Look, it's an underground DJ act, almost like Burial, if anyone, listens to house music or that kind of electronic music. But now you know who DJ Fishpants is. You can go check it out. But yeah, so that's a bit of a long answer, but I've sang a lot.
And you should sing more and more with every day. Okay. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want?
Okay, I live till 90 and I retain either my body. So I've got the body of a 30-year-old, but the mind of a 90-year-old. Is that what it is? So.
Oh, yeah. You either
so
one stays your body or your mind from 30
that's
to 90.
Like a no-brainer, right? Like clearly my body, and I'm happy. Clearly my body stays, right? But then I don't understand. So if am I doing 30-year-old activities in my body, or am I who are my friends? Am I friends with 90-year-olds, but I'm in a 30-year-old body? Like, do my friends accept me? That's a weird question. I don't feel very.
I thought you were going to say.
This question.
I thought you were going to say it's a no-brainer. None of them. I don't want any of them
exactly.
on my mind.
Yeah, well, no. I'd be grateful for any of it, and I'm a bit past 30 now. 30 was Saturn return time, so it wasn't an easy time. So
yeah.
I would say the body.
I think the idea of this question that the psychologists probably thought is like, oh, this question will reveal if the person is like shallow or deep. Like, do they want the body or the mind? But yeah, you showed us that there's more to ask. Like, yes, I kept my body. What does that mean? That I'm hanging out with 30-year-olds or that I'm hanging out with 90-year-olds with the body of... there's more to ask here. But I think... Yeah, what's wrong with the mind? Like, why wouldn't I want my mind to develop over the years? Like, if anything, actually, I would want my mind to learn
And you'd be
more.
so funny. Like, you'd be a really sharp, funny 90-year-old. And I suppose at that stage, I still wouldn't be able to use Instagram.
No.
It'd be the same level of Instagram knowledge or whatever the kids are using. It's TikTok now, I don't know, Zoom. People are talking about this new Zoom thing, I don't know. But yeah, I guess you'd be funny and people would visit you more because you'd be funny and you could finally wear the outrageous things that you never felt you could get away with when you were your 30-year-old mind and your 30-year-old body. So I guess, but I'd have my 30-year-old mind in my 90-year-old body, so it wouldn't be a developed mind. It would be... it would be my 30-year-old mind, which wasn't very developed and was kind of going through its Saturn return and amongst other things. So, that's a tricky question. But as I've learned recently through becoming quite intimate with Ayurveda, which is, the knowledge of, it's an Indian practice, is that the mind and the body, call this controversial, is connected intimately. So if you want to talk about intimacy with what you eat and when you eat and how you feel and how you connect with the sun rising and setting and your circadian rhythms, that is true intimacy. So put that in your pipes and smoke it. Anyway, what about you?
Yeah, I think I also answered that similarly. I would want my mind to keep growing. I don't know. I just want to continue regularly.
Okay.
Deteriorate slowly. Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die?
Wow. This is very grim, these questions. They're very strong. Do I have a secret hunch?
Wait till we get to question number 10, and then we'll talk about being
I don't know. I'm going
grim.
to pass that question. I feel like it's too morbid, and I choose life at this stage. Not in a kind of political sense of choosing life. I think, reproductive rights, I'm very passionate about everyone's right to choose. And I'm not talking about choosing life in that realm. I just choose my life right now rather than
I
thinking
think I would
about
die
the other.
in a very boring ass regular way. And I think I was one of these kids that thought, and I know a lot of people do that because some people shared it with me too. So I don't know, maybe you'll listen now thinking I'm weird, but I would be like, oh, I'm probably going to die at 18, like, and I'm going to be like, really like die tragically and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, not 18, so maybe like 30.
And then
And
getting
everyone has,
older.
yes, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to die 90, but with the body of a 30-year-old.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I think that some people think that they're gonna that like some people that think they're special, that they also think that they're gonna die in a special way. And I think that probably most people die normally, like either in bed or they're like, you know, just living until they're dying. And I think that would be me as well. And I think it's a lesson in being humble and a lesson that I will learn at the last second of my life.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next question? That one's a real Debbie Downer of a question.
Okay, so this is a fun one for both of us. Name
Okay.
three things. Name three things that you and your partner appear to have in common. So that's us.
Oh, okay. So what do me and you have in common? Oh,
Yeah, you need to name three, and I need to name three.
three things in common.
Or maybe it's a shared instruction. So maybe both of us need to just name three together. I don't know.
Okay.
Man.
All right. All right. All right. We like talking. I would
We
say
do like talking.
a lot.
We like talking over
evidence
each
when-
other.
Over each other. Is that a second thing, or does that include in the first?
No,
thing?
it's still the same. It's the first one.
Okay, we like talking and over each other. I think we like to have coffee in the morning. It's the most boring thing I've ever said. Scratch that.
Yes.
I think we both like to sing.
Yes.
I think we both like to make. Oh, this is four. I think we both like to be funny and to make jokes, and to make sad jokes. Sad jokes. And I think we both enjoy making this podcast.
Definitely. Yeah, I like those 5 things that we named. Okay, 9.
Okay.
For what in your life do you feel most grateful?
This is a lot. What do I feel most grateful for? What do you feel most grateful for? I need thinking
I
time.
think
I can't just jump
ultimately-
into these questions.
I think ultimately I feel grateful for the people in my life. So,
Yeah.
like, no matter how frustrated I would be with my job, with wherever, with my house, with my roommate, like, even though he is a person in my life. And I'm also grateful for him because I feel like the people that I'm surrounding myself with usually, and like 99% of the time, would be people that I really love being around and that I, trust, and that I feel like they push me and I'm growing through them. And yeah, so people.
Look, I'm not going to steal your answer, but I would agree. It's the same thing. People
That's
in my
good.
life lead me to good. It's another thing we have in common. There you go.
Yeah, whoa.
But they lead me to good things, like things that I could not get to by myself. And they, you said challenge, but they open my heart up to the world. So the only avenue or vehicle for that is people. I mean, also I think music or things like that are channels or portals that lead you to other parts of yourself. But people first. I choose people.
Love it. Okay, question number 10. We're going back to Grimm now. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Oh my God. If I could change anything about the way I was raised. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think it actually relates to your previous question, New York Times / Itai. I would change the way or the amount of people around. So I was raised in a pretty weird way. My family's super weird. My upbringing was pretty weird as well. lots of drama at the crib, as people would say, as I'm sure many people listening have their own stories to tell. But I think the way to shed light on these experiences, or the way to grow through these experiences, by having a lot of different avenues of support or people. So, you know, those families that have lots of cousins coming over and lots of family friends and just a lot of chaos and a lot of people around. And my family was not like that. We're all pretty, you know, there's a lot of Cancerians in the family. There's a lot of, you know, Holocaust survivor vibes, Israeli vibes. So people kind of do their own thing. And I think community and people, whilst it can be suffocating when it's kind of, you know, done not well, having lots of different people around and lots of noise, you know, as you're complaining over your mum's house, I think that would be the only thing I'd probably actually change.
Nice.
What about you?
I would probably want to be more like closer to my parents. Like I would want them to ask me more about like my day and just, I think what I'm lacking from my childhood, when I see other people's, like when they describe the relationship with their parents, you know how kids, how there's so many people that growing up they would just feel comfortable, you know, sitting on their parents or like coming to their dad and hugging them and be like, I would love to have more like visible acts of love that's not like, here is food, here is like, I'm taking care of you, like old school. Because I think my parents grew up in the way that like love is practical, exactly, and love is like keeping you safe and giving you a good future, but never like asking you how you feel about that or do you want that, or so I would have more of like an individualized kind of relationship and love. I think that is something that I would change. And other things.
I want that too.
Yeah, let's give it to our.
It's another thing we
future.
share. Another thing we share. I want for more attention from our parents.
Okay, this next question is like, there's 2 more questions for this set, and then I think we're going to wrap this episode up. But the question 11 is actually, I don't know, I'm going to ask you on the spot, what do you think we should do? Because it is, take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible.
Okay, well,
I don't know if we can
do that as a B-side. Firstly, 4 minutes. I don't think we can do... Wait, tell them your life story in 4 minutes.
As much detail as possible.
As much detail as possible. Firstly, I'm sure you've told me your life story in detail over many, many hours and many road trips and many days of living in the same home, and I've probably forgotten everything, but I feel it in my heart. So I don't think you need to tell it to me again, but also we're not going to bore the listeners with our life stories. I think these questions are a lot. I want to go to no, it's too much. It's actually too much. It's been a hard Gemini season. I don't want to.
Also, like, this is episode 82 or something of this podcast, and our life story is literally for 81 hours on this. Like, this is too much.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure with the phones or with this new technology that people are using to listen to podcasts, they can probably increase the speed, can't they? So I'm sure you could whittle down 81 episodes into 4 minutes.
Exactly. Just put it in your ears and you're done. Okay, so question number 12 and last for this set.
Oh my God.
If you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be?
Ooh. Well, I can answer 2 of these questions at the same time, or one of these questions, sorry, with an answer to the previous question. So as you were asking me this question, I was thinking in my brain, oh my God, the person who I most want to have over for dinner is Diane Keaton, of course. Why didn't I say that? I should definitely ask you, Ty, if I can answer that question again. I know we're wrapping it up, but I really think Diane Keaton would be a fantastic guest. Like, she's just so chatty and she's lovely, and I just got a lot to say about Diane Keaton. I think she's great. And my actual answer to your question is probably attention, and presence. Because I
So what do you
think,
mean? Oh,
you said which skill. Was it skill? What
yeah.
did you say?
Yeah. Like one quality or ability. So the ability to pay
Yeah.
attention.
I think pay attention in both the Buddhist sense, in both the kind of pithy mindfulness sense, but also just in the practical sense of literally being able to stay on one thing. Some people say it can be seen as a superpower because as a Gemini stellium, we bounce from idea to idea, from thing to thing. But I think you got to really put the hours in to manage all of that activity in your brain. So I think attention and presence, which is maybe a superpower or a skill that you can cultivate over time with a lot of discipline, but that would be beautiful because it answers also those previous questions of what you're grateful for or what's your perfect
Yeah.
day. Like paying attention to those small beautiful things that give you a bounce in your step and make you smile. As you mentioned about your perfect day, it's actually just a regular day in your week. So paying
It's
attention
true.
means that whatever my life will look like, even if I'm a 90-year-old with a 30-year-old body but a brain of a 90-year-old, I might still be happy with my lot in life, and that would be a beautiful thing. What about you, Itai?
Mine is also gonna be, a simple, not funny, like like a true, I think, skill that I would just want to be like, I would just want to have the skill or ability for self-worth and self-love because
Okay,
I just,
wow. Oh my God.
I just
Wow, way to
realized,
ask
I
for a
know,
lot.
listen, these 36 questions, it's only been 12 and I'm feeling like, what the fuck is happening?
I know.
But
Well, do you think, is this going to be a segue for us in potentially once people are able to return back to global travel, which I know that might never happen again, or maybe that's me being, hopeful and dreaming. But do you think once that returns, we could lead a fact-finding mission or a group of people to go on a self-love / self-worth / presence journey or retreat in maybe India or Eat, Pray, Love vibes somewhere? Like we could
sounds
go and we
like,
could find ourselves and charge other people so that they can also find themselves and give us money so you can afford a new bed.
Karen, that sounds like your ultimate cult dream, cult fantasy.
Well, I've already seen all the cults. They're really great, actually. I don't know what the big deal is. They're actually
It's
quite fun.
true. Well, I want to elaborate on my answer. That I
Please,
just
please
realized
do.
that everyone in this world that has like a good relationship with themselves and like a good attachment style, and they walk around. I know everyone has insecurities, and I'm not saying like some people are just happy to be who they are, but I think the level of self-worth, and you could have still so much criticism about yourself, but still deep down know that you're worthy. So I think that when you meet someone like that, then you realize that they might be as talented or more talented or less talented than you, but it doesn't matter because they walk around, they enter a room, and they know they're worth something, and they know that everyone in this room has something to gain from meeting them, or from the painting that they just did, or from the job that they're just applying to. And I think that having that innate or like really strong foundation and of loving yourself is something that I think that's a skill, that's an ability that I would love to have, even
Wow.
with my morning voice. I'm not feeling that.
Yeah, and
So
I think we spoke a little bit or mentioned that we are in a very deep Venus retrograde. It happens every 18 months, and people often think of Venus retrograde as all about relationships and love in the intimate sense or in the romantic sense. But Venus retrograde is also about reflecting on self-worth and self-love, and whatever you're doing, if you love it. Do you actually love it, or did someone tell you that you should love it, or did the version of you 5 years ago love it? Do you actually love what things are looking like for you now? It's not just in relationships. So I think probably both of and the fact that we're in Gemini, we're Venus retrograding in Gemini, means that we're communicating, we're adding words to that. So maybe maybe we've just healed ourselves or given ourselves the answers by answering that 12th question during this Venus retrograde. Just maybe. And I think you're worth everything. So I just think you're great. That's all I can say.
Thank you. I think you're worth everything too. And I feel so much closer to you now. After 12 questions. Like, how would I feel after
I know.
20 more?
Do you think, does this mean our listeners will feel closer to us, or maybe some people will add me on Instagram?
I hope so.
Or what's going to happen?
I hope so. And if they're not feeling closer to us just yet, they can maybe try and listen to our part 2 of this, which will come out whenever we will record it, and then feel closer to us then. But until then, please, if you do it with someone, write to us, tell us that you've done it, tell us how it felt, share with us. But until then, thank you for listening to another episode of Astrology Roast.